So today I have taken a very small part to demonstrate. Actually, it's a very basic things that I have taken today. And why I had taken the personally, like there are so many things coming every day in C Sharp, like every year we have a new versions. But there are so many things that we are not using. So I will try to like show few things that is very easy and how we are doing previously and how we can do nowadays. So those things will be taken in this session today. So let me start directly with the few old concept. So I will start declaring a delegate. Basically, this is our console application. I am running a Visual Studio 2022 preview version with C Sharp 11, but this code can be use it like you can use it .NET C Sharp 6.0 as well. So these are very basic things that I'm going to include today. So what I'm going to do, like create a delegate to calculate the area of circle, and which have a very basic formula like pi r square. So I created a delegate and assigned the function name to this delegate. And then with the help of this, what I can do, I can just invoke my method. Like this is the way how we do invoke, or we can directly also use like this, but let's use the invoke. So any value if we pass, it's a very simple code as you see. So if we run it, we will get the area of circle, that is multiplied by 10. So it's 3.14 become 314. Now, if I have to do the same thing with Lambda, or we can say without Lambda, the same code I can write without these uh, bigger lines. What I can do, I can create a just a delegate object, and here I'm just writing an anonymous function with the help of delegate. So in place of writing as separately this function, I had written a one-liner, and if I want to call that, how can I use like similar to this? So if we run again, we will get the same result, but with the inliner function. So as you can see, we have the same result, but with little bit different approach, which is directly have a inliner function named as anonymous function. Similar way, if I have to use the lambda, how can I do the same thing? Like I will write everything just with the help of lambda. So no more delegates. We are directly using it and calling with that. We'll definitely get the same result with the help of lambda. So the value why it's different, I passed 20 in this one. That is why 20 or 30 or 20. Okay. So these are the way that we do without our like func action and predicates. So actually this is the delegates way how to call it. If I have to use the func, how can I do the same thing with the help of func? After showing the demo, I'll tell you the definition so that it will be more easier. So we have a generic ready-made delegate named as func, and it takes input parameters as well as what is the return type parameters. So here I'm passing the double, and expecting the output as a double. And if we look into this, we have so many overload, up to 16 parameters we can pass. So it's much enough to call any kind of needy things. So with that, I will say, let's say I will say just to make a name different. And what I can do, like I will say R and write the lambda, and then value pi multiplied by R multiplied by R. So I can call it like a double, as we will be getting output in double. With double, I will say area equals me this, and then I can directly pass the value of R and get the result. So if we do the console.write line, again we'll get the same result with the help of func. So you can see previously we had written a function and delegates, lot of things, but with the help of func, our code is something like we can remove all these and write the things simply that can do the same job. So in place of having functions and etc., we can do these things with the help of func. So basically, what is func? Func is something that will take is the general delegates that perform certain action and return a value. Always remember, perform a certain action, then return a value. And we can pass the input parameters and have a output parameter type. Very similar to this, we have an action. So action is also very similar to func, but the difference is that it have a no return type, just for void things. If we not have to return anything, in place of func, we will use action. So how to use this one? So as the name we already told, it's will not return anything. So what we can do to use the action, we'll provide the input type and our variable, and then use the lambda expression. Whatever we want to do the action, we can do over here. And similar to that, our action can just do the writing string. So if we run this one, we will get a console.line printed in the window. So like oh, we've got some exception. What is exception? Throw all the, let's keep this one white to throw. While bringing the window, so we got some text over here printed. So basically the job of the action is when we have a no return type, we just perform action, then we have a generic delegate called as action. Very similar to that, we have a predicates. So predicate is nothing but it's like always return. It's also a generic delegate, but what it does, like perform certain action and return always a Boolean value. So func can return any data type that we need. Action have a no return type, but in the case of predicate, we always have a return type as Boolean. So if we have to perform any action and we only have a option as a returning as a Boolean, then we can say like a predicate is very helpful. I will show you use also. like how we can use it. So how we can use it, like it's also very similar to func. So here we will pass the data that we need. And for this, I'm building a like to check whether the string is more than 5 or not. So I'm just checking the length. So if the string is more than 5, it's print true, otherwise false. So let's make it false first time. So I'm removing the few lines over here and then running it. It will show me a false because Alok is less than 5. And if I will add few uh, more data like Panday, then I can get the result as true. So as simple as like ready-made, or we can say system defined general delegates that can be used for writing simple and cleaner code. With the help of Lambda, we can always optimize line of codes. But if it's just for the number of line, then I think it doesn't have much more value. So when it's come into picture, like nowadays, let's say the library that .NET is using, I will just show you a simple example. Let's say I have a list, and if I have to find something on this list, if I will go find, then you can see it's asking me a predicate. So if I have to run a query on my list, then I need to provide a predicates. So this is the one reason we have to learn predicates, because nowadays, and not from nowadays, from very long time, like from 2012 and 10, Microsoft, these .NET libraries are heavily using, like overall our link to entity, link, everything is totally binded with these expression trees and predicates, etc. So if I have to use this predicate on my list, then how can I do? So let me add a few value in my list. So what I'm going to do, I'm adding two values, and then what I will do, I will use my above predicate that I just created for the checking the length, which is greater than 5, and I'm going to print the name. So as we are using this greater than 5, so this value need to be printed. Let's check. So as expected, with the help of predicate, we are returning true value from the list because we have only two values. But if we have more than one values, which is greater than 5, then which one will be printed? Let's see. Let's say Alok 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case, as soon as it encounters the first occurrence of greater than 5, the result will be always the first one, because we are doing the find, which always return only one value. So in this case also, we are getting the same value. So this is one simple and easy way for predicate to use on our list, generic list, at whatever data type you have, you are expecting anything to run these type of queries, then these are the things that comes to help us. With that, let's move on the little bit deeper for the things that is like if we have to do something like this expression. Let's say 20 plus 15 minus 2 plus 5. So if we have to do this kind of expression, let's say we are taking the input from the user, and where they can come up and write down their own formulas, and we have to execute it. So without expression tree, if we want to do that, we can handle with or we can manage with if else lot of conditions. We can do that, but with the help of uh, expression tree, we can easily achieve this thing. So how to do this? Actually, I'm going to use the namespace of link expressions. So what I will do, I will say like this one is one node, this one is one node, and then we have plus, minus, this kind of things. So let's create a binary expression. We'll say B1 equals expression tree. We'll say expression. Then we'll say make binary. And for that, we can say expression type dot add, because we are building for the first node add. So what to add? We'll say expression dot constant, because we have a time limitations. So we'll directly use the constant value in place of constant. While implementing, we can use the variables and make it generic. Even we have a option to go with generic as well, because generics are much more advanced nowadays. So in place of typing, I will do the copy paste and we will say plus 15. And let's make it close. So our expression B1 is completed. Similar to that, we'll create an expression for the B2. We'll say B2. And here we'll say 2 and 5. And then now it's time for the subtraction node. This one is for this, and this one is for this. Now for this, what we can do, we'll create a binary expression, which is B3, and then again we'll say expression dot make binary, because we are doing for the only two nodes, and then expression type dot subtract, and then we will say B1 comma B2. So it's oh, we have done this B3 part. Now in order to compile, what we can say like expression dot lambda, and then we'll say func and B3 then compile. And after compiling, we can hold the result. As we know, the output will be integer, because we are using for the constant, and we can say console dot write line. So if we run, then we will get the result of the let's check 15 plus 20 minus 7 is equal to 28. Perfect. So this is the way you can build your expression trees very easily with the help of your generic delegates and this expression tree. And they are heavily used if you remember your link queries in SQL servers, SQL to link. We write in a C# language, or finally that query is converted into SQL, and that will be used for getting the result. So if you are building language kind of things, or you dealing with a really complex expression, this will be a very easy part and handy for us. So as we defined earlier as well, what is uh, func? Func is a generic delegate which will have an input and output parameter both with the action. And what is our action? So action is basically perform action but having no return type, that is void. And predicate is also a generic delegate but having a return type boolean only. And I also shown you the use on the list query, but you can generalize for your scope of the project. And expression tree is also over here. So this is all about that I want to show you. If anyone have a question, then we can talk. Is there any question? This is very simple thing, so I'm not expecting any question. So thank you so much. Asan sir, over to you.